Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining us in the world. Thank you for joining me. I'm your host, Alistair Jolly, here on our very first SmugMug Live. And it is an absolute pleasure to welcome you all. I'm very fortunate in my job at SmugMug to travel the world and get to spend time with our amazing ambassadors and friends and business partners. But in current situation, obviously we're not traveling. We're not meeting up in person. So I decided that we would start doing these SmugMug Live episodes and bring the ambassadors and our guests to you here on our YouTube channel. So over the coming weeks, we have lots of guests from lots of different genres of photography joining us from all over the world. So in order to stay tuned and stay up to date on that, I would highly recommend that you hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, turn on the little bell that will give you notifications whenever I go live, and therefore you won't miss some of the amazing content that we have coming your way. Today, folks, I'm delighted that I have to kick off this whole series off, I have the absolute wonderful Vanessa Joy. Are you there, Vanessa? Let me see if I can call her. Hi, there she is. Hi, how are you?
I'm here. Good. How are you?
I am great. Thank you for joining me today. I really, really appreciate it. Vanessa, I'm sure many of you will know, is an amazing wedding photographer based in New Jersey, permanently at the moment, like all of us at home. So, yeah, thank you for joining me. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Just, staying home, staying safe, and trying not to become an alcoholic.
Yeah, trying to stay away from the fridge and other, you know, substances is difficult, right? We've been drinking a lot, and
It is.
it's always 5 p.m. somewhere.
It is. And, I keep buying these big heart pretzels by like the tub and I keep finishing them. So it's become a real problem.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, when you're working at your desk all day, going to the fridge, that's like, a trip. It's like getting out and getting somewhere,
It
So
is. It very much
I
is.
don't know what condition we're all going to be in by the time this is out, but, we need to stay fit and stay healthy. But you and the family are doing okay?
We're doing great. My husband is a wedding videographer, but also helps produce all my content for my own YouTube channel. So we've been hitting that pretty heavy right now.
Yeah. And just to give you some insight, folks, I've been talking to Vanessa over the last few weeks about this. And Vanessa, you mentioned you've never actually been busier in many ways.
Very true. I mean, all of my weddings through July have postponed, and one in November has postponed. So all of that has gone by the wayside. It's just non-existent. But because we create video content and can do stuff like this on
Yep.
a whim, really, with a live stream setup, we've been so busy. I've been saying, I always keep seeing everyone else in their pajamas, but I think I've had to be, camera ready every day this
Yeah.
past month, so much more than normal.
Yeah. Well, at least from the waist up, you have to be normally dressed, right?
Right. Yeah. Down here, we just won't talk about that.
That's a whole
Although
different
some
show.
of my EOS are, we can totally like zoom in and out here.
There you go. Little shout out to the Canon folks.
That's right.
So yeah, we've been watching you keep very busy over the last few weeks since we've been locked down, and you've obviously, like our brand, been working with a lot of brands on content and stuff. So really appreciate you giving us the time today. So we highlighted today that you'd be talking about 10 ways to boost your brand, especially while we're at home, and not actually doing the main practical part of being a photographer. So we'll let you run that very shortly. But I want to encourage those of you watching live to put some questions in the comments, and we'll get to some Q&A after the presentation from Vanessa, and I'll make sure we pick some juicy ones and get her to answer that. So I really appreciate you putting this presentation together. I'm so sure it's going to be extremely useful to many people watching it. So I shall let you give us your 10 tips.
Definitely. So, like you mentioned, we are so used to working in our businesses, and hustling or putting out fires every day or doing the nitty gritty. That's part of the service that we sell or provide to our clients. But right now, we get the privilege, if you want to look at it that way, of being able to work on our business instead of just in it. So that's really what this whole thing is about is to give you a whole bunch of ideas. I have so many ideas for you. Well, I mean, I have 10 ideas, but each of those ideas has like line items. So you're going to want to get your pens ready and you'll have so much homework and so many things to do. And then I'm going to tell you about a crazy camera giveaway that I have also, and you'll hear
Ooh,
about that at
we
the
like
end.
giveaways.
So
Yeah.
I very much like giveaways.
Can I
If we're
enter?
not going to do anything right now, we may as well just give stuff away. Why not?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We can provide all the fun things. I do have all these slides ready for you to download. So it's just bit.ly/10 ideas boost. And then if you're watching this not live, we will have put that in the description, a link to that. So you can download all of the slides and go over this later, because like I said, it will be quite a few different things. But where I really like to start, this is where I start a lot of my presentations, and talking about why potentially we're failing. And it's a little thing that I like to call excusitis. We all suffer from this. We all have excuses, or what we like to deem as reasons why we're not doing something. It's very easy for us, especially right now, to just look at ourselves as, victims of a situation instead of pushing forward. But if you ever look, in history and you see any great stories, Lord of the Rings, whatever you want it to be, there's always an epic story about a hero that worked past the situation that they were in. So I know very well that 2020 has treated us like this, and we're really happy in the beginning until what the heck happened, and now we're just home alone drinking on the couch, potentially in our wedding dresses, which I'm sure a lot of my poor brides are just sitting there on what would have been their wedding day, and maybe just in their dress drinking a beer. Who knows? But I want to encourage you at this point that, you know what? Work is a surefire money-making scheme, as Dave Ramsey says, and there are lots of ways to put food on your table. Actually, my last idea, my number one idea, has to do with something that I tried out this week, and it worked, and I made a couple $100 right off the bat. So I'm excited to show you guys all of that. But ultimately, it's about working the hard stuff. So number 10, we're going to start backwards. So number 10, I think everyone needs to take this time and look in the mirror. And maybe it's not like the actual mirror, but it's looking at what you're doing as far as photography goes. Do you have a cohesive style, or is that something that you can spend this time really honing in on and deciding? Because having a style as a photographer is extremely difficult, but it's so much more prominent now, I guess, or it's so much more needed now to have a style, because if you go to point number 2, it's about social media, and that grid of, pictures on Instagram or Pinterest or even TikTok or wherever you are, we know, or consumers know, when you look at a brand on social media, if that's a brand that is solid, or does it look like it's a photographer that's just going to bail on your gig or wedding day or shoot or whatever it is. And we want to make sure that our social media is validating us. So look at other things like, is your website updated? Are you the same person everywhere? I was guilty of that until 6 months ago. I don't know about you, but have you ever looked at, let's just say, your LinkedIn and then your Facebook and then your Instagram, and you've got different profile pictures on each of them. You have a different voice on each of them.
Guilty of
have
that.
a different bio on each of them.
Yeah.
And that's confusing for consumers. The only person it's not confusing for is your mother, who knows all those sides of you. But making sure you're the right person everywhere. And then, of course, in all of that, just showing whatever it is that you want to attract. Do you want to have a very refined, sophisticated style of your business? Make sure everywhere, looks like that. You get that feeling no matter whether you're on Instagram or Snapchat if you're doing that. So really important to just analyze that as you go through. Number 9, little section that I like to call clean your mouth. Client communication is where a lot of us photographers fail. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to look at your communication list, I guess, whether it's you email them through something like 17 Hats. This is, one of my emails that I have at 17 Hats that just get automatically sent to my clients. I want you to go through everything and look for, number one, how often are you communicating with your clients? Now, if let's just say you're a commercial photographer, are you communicating with them regularly throughout, before the shoot, after the shoot, and trying to drum up new work or even just better a relationship? So how often are you communicating? How clear and concise are you communicating? If you have template emails, go read them back and look at how you sound. Look at, is it too much? And I really suggest looking at this on mobile devices, not your desktop, because most of your clients get your emails like this. So if your emails and your communication is not clear and concise and doesn't look good on a cell phone, they're tuning out. They're probably deleting your emails. Another thing to think about, are you marketing at all times? So if you go back to that slide that I actually had before, this is me 3 months before their wedding, essentially giving them inspiration of what they're going to do with their wedding pictures afterwards. I want them to start thinking about wall space and, little something like this, like little things that they can have as art. Tell them that ahead of time and make them imagine it so that when it's time to sell afterwards, you've already introduced them to all of the products before they even had the opportunity to buy them. So it makes it that much easier if you're marketing along the way. And then finally, do you have some kind of drip email campaign in place? So maybe that's after the wedding where they are, you give them opportunities to log into your online gallery and, this month we are featuring canvases, or this month we're featuring prints. Pick something, but find a way where you're automatically communicating. This is how I automatically have communication before they even book me. It's a pop-up here on my website. It's also a pop-up here on my Instagram, my link tree that you go into. And then it triggers an email sequence that gives them all of these different tips about how to look good, in your wedding photos, and that applies to my clients. But think of something that could apply to your clients, and find a way to communicate with them effortlessly. The idea is you set all this stuff up so later you're not actually having to do much work, but you're communicating so much more often and so much better than before. Number 8. I call it get a date. So right now we are all sitting at home and we are bored out of our ever-loving minds. So I suggest making some virtual dates. First thing you can do, just make a list of all of the people that you want to connect with. I have an ongoing Google Doc of all of the wedding vendors that I either have close connections with or I want closer connections with. And I've just gone through them and, nurtured those relationships, whether I'm just sending them some emails, sending them a DM, talking to them more, or actually making a date. For example, last night, a bunch of us hung out in House Party. Are anyone familiar with House Party? Do you know about House Party?
Been using it a lot recently. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's so much fun. And the truth is, we're doing this when we're talking about work, right? But if you're trying to nurture relationships and build relationships, ultimately, you just want to work with people that you like. Mm-hmm. So what better way than to figure that out or to, get them to see if they like you or whatever than hanging out in places that are a little bit more fun and natural. I mean, we had a whole bunch of people on House Party last night. It was so much fun. You could play games or you could just hang out, but find a way to just be with people and nurture those relationships, either new ones or existing ones. Number 7, everyone must be burning through paper right now. Number 7 is to use direct mail. This is fun. And actually in the chat, I would love to hear if anyone else is experiencing this. I think my mail, like in my mailbox, I used to get so much mail. It's gone down about 90% now. I'm curious if anyone else is experiencing this, but there's about 90% less mail in my mailbox right now.
Yeah, I would agree with that. There's days this week where I haven't even seen the mailman come to the house, which is unheard of. He's normally bringing some kind of junk at some point, right?
Yeah, usually I get a ton. but it's about 90% less. So what better time than to use, an old-fashioned, I guess, form of marketing. Personally, that there are a few different ways I do this. I have sent out what I call these brochure cards, and I just design these in Fundy software. And this, for example, is a wedding venue near me, but I do this with florists and I combine different weddings even. And I have photos of all of their work. So in this case, it's photos of the venue, but if it was the florist, it would be photos of all the florals from the different weddings that we've worked together. And on one side of the card, I have all of their information and contact information and logo if I have it. And then on the other side is all my contact information. And, you can print these right through SmugMug. You can ship them directly to, whoever it is that you want to ship them to. And you're essentially making their brochures for them, making their marketing materials for them. And they come with envelopes. So you can even take it a step further. Previously it would have been, hey, stick these in your brochures, and hand them to your prospective clients when they come visit your venue. But now it's like, here, I got you some envelopes. Feel free to do some direct mail to your clients. And now they're paying to advertise your work to their clients, and they're paying for the stamp and doing all the effort. So, but even more so now, they're going to be seen because there's literally no mail. So one thing that I did is I actually, to a bunch of different friends of mine, I last week and the week before that, I just mailed random gifts to friends of mine. But you could do that with, people you're trying to network with. It just will definitely be seen a lot more. So utilize direct mail. I've done magazines also. That's probably something that'll be on my next week. So I have this beautifully done printed magazine, and you guys can download this if you want to, but it just has a lot of my work. It has testimonials from different vendors, different clients. If you want to download it, you guys can go to that bit.ly. I'll leave that up there for a second. A little bit more expensive to print magazines, but maybe this is, you want to send it to a little bit bigger of a client or potential client or networking connection. So, whatever it is, direct mail, you will absolutely be seen because everyone stopped mailing whatever. Even all like the regular mailers, the junk mail that you just expect, it's almost gone. It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
All right. Number 6, create content. So if nothing else, we are, potentially at home and we have time to create content. So put this on your list. Videos, blogs, or anything public relations, anything PR. So the next few slides, I have a ton of, what's a word for a ton of inspiration for you. Most of it is videos. And I don't think you'll hear the audio. You shouldn't hear the audio, actually. But so this is an example of content marketing, which you could easily do, whether you're making a video like it is on the left, or you're making a blog post like it's on the right, or maybe you're trying to get your blog post published somewhere else on a relevant blog that your clients look at. For me, it would be Style Me Pretty, or Wedding Chicks, or Gray Likes Weddings, or one of those, the Knot Wedding Wire. But create something that your clients would want to read. Preferably maybe not something on COVID-19, because I think everyone is just done reading about it at this point. So something, even if it's funny, but just something that they will want to consume, and you can, delineate it in so many different ways. Maybe you just want to make generic promo video for yourself. So, something like this that I have here, where it's just, here's who I am, here's what I do, here's why I'm so amazing, here's why you should hire me. Now it's easier than ever. This is done in Animoto, so it's super, super easy to do. Another idea would be going back to the clean your mouth section. You can actually create content that communicates to your clients. So this is what I send to my clients after the wedding, so I don't get that annoying email of, wait, what do I do? When do I see my pictures? When do I get my album? It's so much better. Granted, I write them an email, but most of them never read anything anyway, these darn Gen X's. But they will watch a video. So I like sending them both, and it's just a great way to create content. And then, of course, there's always the tips and tricks, or listicles, as I like to call them. So wedding day skincare has nothing to do with photography, but it's something that my clients will potentially look at and then potentially save, which is great for algorithm boosting anywhere. I have a link here for you guys if you want to look at all of these videos and then a few more for some more ideas on marketing or creating videos. This is the link where you can take a look at that. And again, we'll throw all these links in the description later. So if you're watching this after the fact, just go there.
We'll put all those links in the show notes once we are finished with the live stream today, for sure.
Yeah. And then don't be discouraged. I love talking about this one somewhat local to me rental house. You know, she doesn't have a lot of followers. She's at 442 at the time when I had this quote from her. You know, it's not about follower count or even how many views, because you really only need one good one to gain a client. And this one is, she said that 75% of her inquiries come through her website contact form indicating that they found her on Instagram. So 75% of the business that she is bringing in through her door is coming from social media, and she has under 500 followers. So just super, you know, a powerful way to understand that it's not about how many followers you have, because I get that a lot. Like, oh yeah, it's Vanessa, sure, she, you know, everybody looks at her videos. No, no one looks at my videos. It's about, you know, what you're doing. All right, number 5, we're talking about working on, not in. And the way that I want to give you something to do here is I want you to imagine that you are a client and walk yourself through your own process of when they contact you for the first time, when you reach out for them for the first time, what it's like planning the shoot, executing the shoot, following up after the shoot, delivering products. And I want you to concentrate on the entire workflow from start to finish. Most of the time, I get people asking, how do I market? How do I get people through my door? How do I book my first job? Well, that's absolutely worthless unless you have the workflow and the experience that all of your clients will have down pat. If you don't have that down pat, all of the marketing you're doing is worthless, because you're essentially spending all this money and all this time to bring people in and have them have a bad experience with you and write you a bad review. So I always tell people, just in general, make sure that you are working on your workflow and your client experience well before you are marketing yourself to death, because that's going to determine your word of mouth marketing afterwards. And ask any business owner, word of mouth marketing is the most powerful marketing that you have. Number 4, this one is help someone. So right now we are all not in the best circumstances, but there is absolutely something that you can do about it. For me, I really just wanted to see the good that happens after most hard times or tragic times. You know, I always think of 9/11 and think about how afterwards, you know, there was such unity in the States, and you could see American flags everywhere, and it was a beautiful time of healing. So why wait to start that good when we can start it right now while we're still all dealing with this pandemic? The way that I've been doing it is I'm giving away, my attempt was to give away $1 million worth of these courses. I'm not getting close, but I have given over 2,000 of them away, and I'm still giving them away right now. This is a link that is going to be in the description, but if you want to just go to my YouTube and look for that thumbnail, my YouTube is just Vanessa Joy, and look for that thumbnail. There is a free social media course that I'm giving away in there. There's a link to it there. So that's the type of good that I'm doing. Your type of good, you know, it doesn't have to be business related. Maybe it's, I don't know, helping your neighbor buy groceries because, you know, they're an at-risk someone. But the idea is that you point yourself or your intentions or your thoughts away from yourself so that you're looking at other people, because anytime that we are looking outside of ourselves and helping outside of ourselves rather than concentrating inwards, we're going to feel better about the situation or better about ourselves rather than sitting at home self-pitying and groveling, which we're all guilty of, myself included. But I find when I turn my intentions outwards, it's so fulfilling, not just for the people that I'm helping, but for myself. All right. Number three is get your learn on. So now is a really great time to go back and watch all of those courses that you bought online and never watched. And I think we're all guilty of doing that because we find a really great course and I'm sure it's wonderful, but then you never get around to doing it. So try some new things, maybe photographically. This is an example of a photo that I sort of reached outside my norm and my style for. It's a style of photography that I saw Seth Miranda from Adorama doing, where it's like a ghosting image. It's a shutter drag essentially. And I know a lot of us typically are scared to do stuff like this, but this quote, if you don't make mistakes, you're not working on hard enough problems, and that's a big mistake. That really resonates with me. So if we can take our time now to learn a little bit more about photography, try the things we've never done before or been too scared to do or scared to tackle. If you want to tackle off-camera flash, I know Amazon is shipping the book that I just wrote about off-camera flash, so you can grab that if you would like to. Number two, put you first, just a little bit, just a little bit. And you know, everyone kind of knows this in the back of your head. When you better yourself, everything around you thrives. Not even just your business. You know, your family life, your personal life. When you take time for you, everything around is changing. So I realized this last night, actually, when I was kind of overwhelmed with, my situation. I'm in a house of 6 people and I'm an introvert. So I gain my strength from being alone, and I haven't been alone in, months and months. So I was super stressed out last night, and I was like, you know what? I just need a moment by myself. So I just kind of like shut myself in a room, turned off the phone, didn't talk to anyone, and just had that moment of silence. So here are some ideas if you need ideas on things that you can do to just give back to yourself. And out of all the things that I have talked to you about, I'm going to venture to guess that this is the most difficult for anyone to do. So try to give yourself 20 minutes a day, and keep that promise to yourself that you will take some time to care about yourself and take care of yourself at least once a day. That's not asking too much, hopefully. Hopefully. And then number one, and this is what I was talking about in the beginning, the number one thing, you know what? You might as well offer something to your clients, some kind of sales. So just this past week, I think it was 3 days ago, I sent the email, or 2 days ago? 2 days ago. I just ran a sale. I created a coupon code in SmugMug, and it was for half off, and it's good till Monday. And I emailed all of my clients, sent them a link to, just galleries.vanessajoy.com to my basic home SmugMug page, and said, hey, I know you're stuck at home. Maybe now's the time to have a little DIY home project based on your pictures. Here's half off to keep yourself busy while you're stuck at home. And I got at least $500 worth of orders within the past 2 days. And I'm sure I'll send out a reminder email before it expires on Monday and probably get maybe 500 more. So it was a great way just to have a little bit of cash flow. And, I know people are very wary about selling right now. But you know what? You might as well give people the opportunity. I even had one of my brides write back and say, oh my gosh, this is such a fun idea. What a great idea. Oh, and by the way, can I book you for my maternity session that will take, after we're allowed to go outside? So, if you want to count that as, another thing, then that's more money I made because of just having a promotion. So lots of ideas. Hopefully everyone is writing them down like crazy and you have lots and lots to do. And then the last thing that I have for you here is the camera giveaway. Again, you won't be able to hear this, but if you go to bit.ly.com, bit.ly/camera joy, I'm giving away a Canon EOS R, which is what I'm filming myself with right now. And I have to change my exposure because, we're all a little OCD about that. A ProPhoto A1X, a license to capture one, and a copy of my book. So you can head to bit.ly/camera joy, or if you're watching this later, the link below. But just wanted to end and remind everyone that we're all in this together, because I don't think is a single person that has not been affected by this. So hopefully we can all well, I know we'll come out of this, but hopefully we'll all come out of it better than we were before. And hopefully I've given you tons of ideas to do that. I feel like I just made everyone drink from a fire hose. I'm going to relax now. While I gave everyone else all that work.
Yeah, you did mention there take time to yourself, so you can take some time right now. I was going to ask you some questions, but I'm on the other screen here trying to win a Canon camera in a giveaway, so it's a great prize.
Do that first.
That was wonderful. A lot of great tips there. It was quite quick fire, but a lot of detail that people can take in there, and obviously they can rewatch this to absorb it a little bit more, and we'll post those links. A few things I'd like to come back on and ask you a couple of personal questions about that you mentioned there.
Sure.
I absolutely loved that idea where you created a video of information for your clients. You know, especially around the time of people planning their wedding, there's so much information that they're being bombarded with from vendors and venues and, you know, all those legal things they have to do before they get married. And, you know, being able to stand out like that on a video and just give them a concise video to watch, something I'd never thought of. That's a great idea.
It works. You know, I would get probably a handful, not all of my clients, but probably at least half of them, even though I was sending an email out saying, here's what we're going to do, and it would automatically go the day after their wedding, you know, they'd still write me, what do we do next? What's happening? When I added that video, I get zero. I get zero emails now.
They all know.
With questions after, so.
Yeah,
great.
they'll definitely watch that and make sure they absorb the information. I love the fact you're trying to give back to the community. I know you always do. You're a great supporter, and you know you give so much information and time to this wonderful industry that we're in. But you know, trying to give away $1 million worth of your courses, that's quite a milestone. That specific course, I have to say, I actually was one of those people you gave it to. I did sign up for it. It's specifically about social media, right? And tips and tricks.
Exactly. Yeah, it's called Social Media Demystified. So. Helps make sense of it all.
Yeah, a lot of the tips and tricks you need to know, some of the information that's hard to come by, right? And people don't tell, you know, the social media companies themselves really don't give you the information you need on how to use it. So it's great that someone yourself is doing that and giving away that information. So I encourage people to go check out that course that Vanessa is giving away free at the moment. And yeah, you mentioned your book as well, something that we weren't specifically going to talk about today, but you are quite the master at off-camera flash. So you've created a fairly unique book about off-camera flash, I would say, right?
I like to think it's unique, so I'm just pulling it up on the screen if you want, at least the Amazon link.
Let me share the link here.
And apparently they only have 10 left in stock, although I've seen that number fluctuate, so now I'm a little bit shady with what Amazon's doing over there. But so the book it's for beginner to intermediate Flash users. And if you're scared of using Flash, I wrote this book literally for you, because I tried to break it down in the most easy methods, and it's not super technical. It's more hands-on. I say in the beginning of the book, if you spent more time reading the book than actually holding a flash or a camera, I have completely failed. So I want people to be able to think, you know, how do I photograph a sunset? Great, that's scenario 16. How do I make it look like it's golden hour when it's not? Great, that's chapter 5. So everything is very scenario-based with step-by-step photo, behind-the-scene photo, settings, everything.
Wonderful. So
most of it is like, I would say most of it is like straight out of camera stuff too. So it's not like I'm telling you how to do something and then I'm showing you the edited version. If I had the straight out of camera photo, I showed that to you and the edited version.
Yeah, it's real world stuff. It's the real, you know, guts of what you need to know to use off camera flash, and you use it so well that people should be inspired to get that camera off. They'll get the flash off the camera and use it creatively the way you do. You know, there's still time, folks, if you want to ask some questions here while we have Vanessa live. Let me see what we have here. We have a question from Andre who says that, you know, in these times, he was saying it was quite difficult to have a USP, a unique selling point. What makes you stand out from others at this time?
I don't know that I've looked at anything different than I normally have. So my way of standing out has always been convenience and customer service and the entire experience. I am in a unique situation because I'm not volume. So I'm boutique style, 20-ish weddings a year. But what I've heard some other people doing the same things, trying to be empathetic, have done things like break up their retainer. So, people are still getting engaged. Actually, the hashtag quarantine engagement is pretty great. There's quite a few of them. And from there, just marketing like you do, but when you have somebody come in, a lot of people want to plan their weddings but can't. Actually, photography is one of the things that they can plan. It's not like they have to go visit the venue, but a photographer, they can just meet like this. So, offering video chat, offering phone calls. And then what I've heard is people offering to split up their normal retainer. Normally my retainer is $2,000 that holds a date for you. Maybe you split it up, half now, half later, or into threes, or whatever it is. It's just going to make it easier for them to book with you. Anytime you make something more convenient, faster, easier, it's always going to benefit you.
Yeah, lots of ways to try and stand out, and you should always try and have these marketing ideas and unique things. It doesn't have to be something that you're just doing now because we're in this unprecedented situation. You should always be like Vanessa, trying to find ways to be different and catch people's attention or give people information the way they're going to consume it. That's not something we should just be doing just now. You showed a picture earlier where you said you were outside your comfort zone by showing that picture that you'd created, and you said you'd been inspired by someone called Seth Miranda, I believe you said.
Yes,
Is that right?
yes.
It's
He's
funny.
a fellow Adorama TV host.
Yeah, Seth just mentioned that we shouldn't hold it against you for being from Jersey, he says. There we go.
Of course he did.
Thanks for that comment,
He's
Seth.
just proud to be from Brooklyn. So,
Yes, indeed. Nice little comment here from Victoria, who says, Vanessa, you are the GOAT, apparently. So there you go.
The goat, the greatest of all time.
And she says she's going to read your book this week. There you go. Thanks for that comment, Victoria.
Fantastic.
Appreciate
It's a good
that.
quarantine read.
And here's a question from a SmugMug ambassador and a fellow wedding photographer, dear friend Brett Florence. He says, that was lovely. Thank you so much for your time, Vanessa. Any workshops planned after the lockdown? He says.
It's funny. I literally cannot wait to get out and teach. So I know you'll see me at Adorama doing photo walks and just anything to get out there. I don't have anything planned at the moment because everything's just been put on hold. But hopefully I'll make it to Shutterfest. That's the one conference that is theoretically still happening, but you never know. I can't wait. I think a lot. I wonder if this is going to change the way that people look at in-person education, because by the end of this, we're done with online education. Like there's so much of it. We've done nothing but be on Zoom chats and meetings and online stuff. We're just going to crave that in-person connection, or be totally scared of it. I don't know, one or the other.
Either embrace it or run away from it and hope that this is the new norm,
Exactly.
I want to again come back to something you mentioned earlier. You mentioned that, and I know from experience, securing clients is very much about letting them know who you are, what your personality is. Right? There's a connection between you and your clients, no matter what genre of business you're in. There's definitely a connection that happens, and sometimes that can be one of the most valuable things when it comes to marketing. Are you a good fit for each other? Right.
Right.
So you mentioned there's still things we can do to experience, showcase your personality, learn about the personality of potential clients. And you mentioned house party. It's so funny that something that is in many ways considered a game can be used in a business sense,
I mean, why not? When I'm at a wedding, I know I have the most fun when, I know the maitre d', I know the videographer, I know the DJ, then it's just fun. So why not have that fun now, since we can't all be out there together?
Indeed. Would you consider doing house party with potential clients?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah. See if just make sure you lose all the games and make sure they win.
Right. You gotta let them win.
Gotta let them win. Let's see if there's anything else on here.
Oh, I see. Jose said, and with stick figures, he is referring to my book. The
Oh yeah,
drawings in the book, I did a lot of stick figures. If I didn't have behind the scenes, I wanted to at least to give a lighting diagram instead of the behind the scenes shot. So I drew stick figures
and
on my Wacom
do you
tablet.
consider yourself a good artist?
No, I am horrific. That's why I hold a camera and not a paintbrush.
Yeah. I know many of us in the photography industry that are frustrated artists, right? You know, we'd love to be good
Yeah,
at painting and drawing. So, stick figures, that works. That's quite fun.
it works. It's fine. People got a kick out of it.
Just finish on that little tip that you mentioned about what you can do with the SmugMug product itself. I know a lot of our customers and our friends, ambassadors, are using the opportunity to give discounts to their clients. It's something you can do again at any time. Is offer a discount, especially for clients that are from previous years where you've maybe had that first business interaction with them from the wedding, the albums, the print sales after the wedding. But don't forget that you can still market to these people. These are clients that you can market to, and using discounts is a great way to call people to action and try and encourage them. And people are definitely still buying even at this unusual time. So that's a great
Yeah.
little tip and trick there. And it's very easy in our product to add a coupon code or discount voucher, depending on what part of the world you come from. It's different
It is.
terminology. So as we mentioned, we will add all those links that Vanessa mentioned and shared in the notes. But yeah, listen, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a real pleasure. And
Absolutely.
normally we're doing this at trade shows and fun parts of the world, but this has been fun, and it's a bit different, and it's cool. So thank you for giving me your time to do that. Anything you would like to finish with today, or?
Well, if anyone wants to follow up and get their learn on, I've got lots here on YouTube for you. So you can head over there and learn some new stuff. I got tons of videos I've been working hard on for you.
Yeah, you've been working on your YouTube video quite aggressively recently, right? That's an
Yeah.
area you're really focused on. So please head over there and check out all the amazing work that Vanessa has done on her own YouTube channel. And of course, we have to mention Adorama TV, where you
Yes.
have so much content there, such amazing stuff there it's all free to watch. So, definitely a place to get your learn on, as you say. So thank you for creating all that content for our community. We really appreciate it, and it's been a pleasure having you join me today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome. So a real pleasure to have Vanessa with me today. We've got some amazing people coming up over the next few weeks, so stay tuned. Over the coming weeks, we have people like Bella Kotak, Elia Licardi, Brett Florence, Lara Jade. There's a whole host of people going to be joining me here over the next few weeks and months from all different genres of photography. If you have someone or some genre that you perhaps would like to cover, please reach out and let us know in the comments to these videos. So there's lots of time and lots of learning to be over the next few weeks with some amazing guests. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on the little bell notification, and you will be notified when we go live with our next guests. We also have a blog page over at smugmug.com, giving a schedule of the people that we've got coming up over the next few weeks. I will also be joined by some colleagues at certain times during the week, and we're going to get on here live and do some tips and tricks on how to use our product. And you can again ask us questions, learn some ways to use SmugMug that perhaps you haven't tried before. So stay tuned for all that content that's coming here on SmugMug Live. But for today, thank you so much, and I'll see you on the next episode.